The council meeting, June 2nd, 2022, City of Craig, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Hannah? Here. Jim?
Here.
Kelly? Here. Michael?
Here.
Chanel?
Is absent excused.
And, Tim?
Here.
He's
Oh,
here.
Tim.
Tim B. Mayor, and then also we have, Julie as absent excused.
Quorum present. Go to the consent agenda for motion. Move to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, and move second approve consent agenda. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, the same. Hearing from the public, anybody in the public who wishes to speak, anything on the agenda or otherwise? Hearing none, we'll move on to reports from city officials. Mr. Mayor, do you have anything to report to us?
Yeah, it's been COVID, I'm sick right now.
Okay, get well soon,
All right.
Administrator.
I submitted a report, just a couple of quick updates. First, item 3, the Cannon project, the Corps has gotten all of the money that came into the ground over. So, council already incorporated the rest of our share of this work, so we're paying a check for the remainder of that $53,500. Samantha's been processing that. The daycare center, I got an update email after I wrote my staff report, so there's a whole bunch of in the pack, talking about where the daycare center is at. The Forest Service meeting that was scheduled for today was canceled, and the Forest Service folks, the regional forester, Tongass Forest Supervisor, and the district ranger are planning to meet sometime in July. So I'll let everybody know when that date is. And then the mayor and I met with Deputy Undersecretary Maxon from the UFD Rural Development, a couple of the state rural development folks yesterday. Had a discussion about agriculture and school biomass project and about some other funding opportunities through rural development. So it's a good conversation. But it's nice to have him here for a visit. We have to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Yeah, number 8, supplemental budget. Just curious, you mentioned in there the sales tax is doing really well, which is terrific. How is the the online sales tax program? I can't remember the appropriate name for it. But how's that doing overall?
For the Alaska Remote Seller Sales Tax,
There you go.
commission. I'm sorry, I don't have numbers in front of me, but it seems, so my recollection is we budgeted a total of $75,000 revenue for the fiscal year, and we were already over 120 or 140,000. So we're that both the in-person sales tax and the remote sales tax are well above what we projected for last year.
That it looks like becoming part of that coalition and remote sales tax stuff is really good for us.
And I think they've done a good job for us. They're pursuing eligible businesses that aren't identified yet. So, every day there's businesses being added to the list that are collecting sales tax for. And they have done so well this year that the mayor and I were in Juneau for AML, or Southeast Conference meetings. The sales tax commission announced that they have dropped the commission rate. They have some milestones that if they reach, the commission that they charge us drops. So the commission has dropped from 18% to 13%. If they were to reach one of the milestones, and that applies to the rest of the fiscal year. So overall, they're doing well, and from my perspective, for Craig, they're doing very well.
Thank you.
Really?
Brian, I have a question in regards to grants. When the city receives grants, who takes charge of that? Like the overseer of all the grants?
Generally, it depends on the grant and the department manager's ability to, what they have for time and knowledge to take over the grant. There's a couple of different aspects of it. So there's program management, which generally the department heads wearing. So if we have a grant, for example, for a harbor equipment or harbor renovations, Hans would be the go-to person program wise. And then our treasurer would manage the financial end of it, and the planner kind of plays a broad role grant wise in helping all of the departments manage various grants, plus the ones that she will individually manage for programs that she's more involved in. But usually it's the department head with help from the planner in managing the program aspects, and then the treasurer and finance staff with the financial aspects of the grant.
Okay, thank you.
One of the things I would like to mention is when you do online business, if you see that they're not charging you sales tax, or they are, I think we should get the list here, because I'd like to know whether they're paying the money from Cabela's and AT&T and all that kind of stuff. I just purchased a new Bell is not, so that's something we should call and tell those people, because that's some bucks that we're missing. It's not that I should have it, sales tax, but at some point we can figure out how to deal with that too, but.
Yeah, for sure, let us know that the remote seller sales tax commission maintains a list online. So our staff can go on anytime and see what vendors are on the list and find ones that aren't. And they're open to communication from the communities about who else is not charging sales tax. That we think should be.
Would you go to that site and then that link and send it maybe to me, but all the council members, I actually would like to look at that list. I think that's a good idea. Yeah, I'd like to look at that. That's a good point, Joe. Thank you.
One other thing, Brian, I was in the other day and I asked Roy, or I mentioned to Roy that being as how I was sick the last meeting, I called in and tried to listen to it, and you can't understand a word. So I don't know, I know during COVID, people were calling in and, listening to our council meetings, so I don't know.
I think one of the things we forgot to do is put the microphones down around the desk, which I think makes a difference. I've never listened to you compare it, but that's the purpose of those little microphones, is that it makes it easier to hear the council.
Yeah, because you can't understand a single word, not a word.
Okay, we'll keep an eye on it.
Okay.
I can hear you fine.
So again, I think we've got those little speakers, or microphones on.
They
I
make
think they do.
a huge difference.
Okay. Just any updates on fuel station situation?
Great, next is treasurer.
I did not submit a report trying to get myself up here ready for the audit. Christine was finally able to get here today. She was all spread out on the counters out there, getting to work, and it was actually good to hear her. She's saying she was worried when she got here that there's gonna be a lot of extra work that's gonna be done, and she was really pleased of what she got today, so that was good to hear from her. And hopefully we'll be able to keep moving forward. We actually got her set up remotely, so I asked her to open that computer back up, so she can be able to, when she needs Sunday, be able to still remotely act time she needs to. So that worked really well. I've been working remotely from Utah, and it's been working really well, I think. sitting on the back porch and working away, but that's been beautiful in Fremont and be able to still get all your work done. Other than that, I think that's what we're working on most right now with audit. But you have to answer any other questions.
Any questions for the treasurer? Audit manager.
I submitted a very short report, to add to it, instead of reopening on the 25th, I believe that I put on there for July, we're just going to stay closed for July and reopen back open. Sorry, on the 1st of August, that'll give me a chance to be able to take a few days off to help McKenna when she transitions back to work with the new baby and all of that, so, and time to do maintenance and painting the building and all that fun stuff by myself.
Any questions? The city clerk, do you have a report?
I'm just learning everyone's names, faces, and I'll be starting on June 6th, so Monday, full time. So I'll be there regularly at that point. And just keep going. The next council meeting is scheduled for June 16th.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
City planner.
I submitted a report, a few of the updates over the last report, talking about the urban daycare, updates to the work of the environmental study funding. One other thing to add, we have officially all, 3 disaster trailers here on the island. We purchased the first one officially from, McKinnon, we had transferred the title, working on finishing up, with getting the plates on it, finishing the registration and insurance. And then still in the process of officially purchasing the other 2 from the trade, so. Looking at stocking them soon and working on an agreement with our participating community.
Great, any questions? Thank you. Our EMS coordinator.
She's recovering from COVID a little bit, and there's even staff up there as well, so.
There is a free report on that.
Yeah, there's a report. And I'd be happy to try and answer any questions.
Harbor master.
I've submitted a written report, would be happy to answer any questions anyone might have. We do have a harbor committee meeting scheduled for next week, Thursday the 9th at 4:30, I think is what we're gonna try to do.
Most past ones, when the harbor committee needs to talk about the factors, the council was passed. Based on Charles' comments at the last meeting, so to get some comments from, let you know. if Harbor committee has anything they want. Sure.
Okay. Anything else? Glad to see that the gentleman is coming back to help us again.
Yes, he has a ticket for the 10th. He'll be here before noon on the 10th.
I heard.
I submitted a written report, and the only thing that I add was that yesterday I just received an email letting me know that I received a $20,000 grant from ALA. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Good, thank you. Police chief already is not well, we know.
No, he's excused tonight.
How it works.
I submitted a written report. Hopefully, I can answer any questions.
Any other questions? Yeah, we'll go through recreation. How you doing there, Victoria?
Victoria.
I've been better.
Stuff on it.
I've been better. I submitted a report that Ellie is there to answer any questions. I have COVID just like Camara.
Okay.
And I'd also like to add that the bazaar went beautifully. I think it's a wonderful opportunity to have it right after the marathon, to have a outside crowd coming in through the bazaar and look out the equipment really nice too. We're going to take advice for next year for our next spring to move it to 12 to 5 instead of 1 to 6. And the blessing of the fleet went beautifully as well. We had a few large boats and a crowd to cheer on and people jumping off the docks. And we'll be starting water balloon fights tomorrow, as well as having a swap meet on June 11th. I'll have you answer the questions.
Any questions? Thank you very much.
I did not get a report submitted, but I'd be happy to answer any questions. So we got the cemetery done, the memorial. And it's jungle season again, so we're back cutting the jungle, keeping it at bay. That's our focus.
All part looks good, appreciate that, you're doing fantastic.
Yeah, I heard numerous comments about the ballpark and the cemetery and community, you know, looking pretty spruced up, so for you and for everybody else who participated, thank you.
Mostly the other guys, I chip in where I can. But yeah, they do a good job.
Reading correspondence, anybody want to pull anything out of there?
I'm not happy about the cruise ship thing.
We met with, a board member from Chamber of Commerce and and some folks from Oaxaca and several folks from that meeting. And I answered some questions, but I don't know if they have a lot of information. That's the plan.
He didn't, he's not happy this year, so.
No. And next year will be a really light test year. So I think they're only planning on 1 year. 5 to 10 bucks for the whole season. They're not planning like a full season cruise ship, so we're not getting into the bigger ships yet.
I just don't understand what they're gonna offer.
Generally, what they told us is that they have, and I don't know what they told them, is a major renovation plan for the sword yard on Powhatan Island. So it's kind of, Hoonah Totem, of course, is the corporation responsible for the Icy Strip Point development, which kind of similar to what I think they're planning here, which is trying to develop the sword yard. We have activities for the tourists. I talked yesterday with another Powhatan board member, and they're looking at incorporating the other activities in co-op, like the longhouse and carving shed and the totem park, and I don't know what else, and creating a circuit. The Hoonah Totem folks had talked about, trying to meet with communities and see if other communities had activities. And their view of it was likely they would bus folks around the island for other communities. So I think some folks are hoping that we'll keep it all in co-op. Other folks are recognizing that they really want to incorporate other communities. I'm not sure how it will end up. I've heard both versions so far of what the plan is. But 500, even just 500 people, is a lot of folks. Trying to keep it happy for the day.
We used to have 2,000 in here off, well, 1,000 off the boats at least, that we had 200 sailboats.
Oh, yeah.
With 6 guys to a boat, we had 1,200 in here tonight. It was like. I remember.
We need to get the longhouse built, so there's culture here, so they come through here.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see what happens next year when there are actual people here and once there's a feel for the direction that it's going. And right now, preparing for the tourists is chancy and not really the top of our priority list, but certainly as the development looks like it's moving forward, we'll be having more conversations with you guys about what level of development that you want to see or interest in bringing passengers over here and activities.
Michael?
Yeah, I just, reading Joel's letter on sales tax for fuel. I see what he's saying, I understand the concern with people, from my perspective personally, I think his suggestion of maybe going to like a rate per gallon rather than per cost a gallon. I'd be open to looking at options on that or something. I just, I'm not committing to anything, but if other people are interested and see some merit in that,
I think so too.
I've talked to 2 or 3 of the other charter guys, and they go to client, they all instituted a $200 surcharge per client this year, for fuel.
I know that's not all of them, because I talked to a few that say that they need to do it next year, they weren't on the ball this year. And telling them up front. But yeah, I guess that makes sense, the way Joel says it, and if we're already ahead in sales tax, something we should definitely look into. I don't think we're projected to get that much from sales tax on fuel either.
And I did take a look at that number, of course, that number would be confidential since we're just talking about
Right.
that source. But I'm happy to look at what that number is and send it out to council members individually, so you can look at what right now. We're collecting sales tax in that one area. And I don't have a whole lot of answers, but I do have some questions, like for local government folks or our attorney. If we switch to a flat rate based tax, I don't know if that still qualifies as sales tax or now becomes some sort of a use tax for fuel. Where the voters have approved a 5% sales tax. And so there may be a longer process. Most taxes have to be approved by the voters, so there may be a much longer process to get a different structure approved.
It seems to me, back in 2008, when fuel prices went over $4 here for quite a while. That's when I put my Woodstock in. They approached $5 at that point too. And I think we had requested that point. That may, your point may be exactly the way it is. We may not be able to.
There may be some ways to get around it, but if the council's interested, I'm happy to do some research. And maybe schedule an executive session since this pertains to financial matters for the city. That we can kind of talk about, and an executive session would be able to talk about what any suggested changes might be to the bottom line sales
The
tax.
thing is, as it goes up and down, we did something we're gonna wanna change again. Because if it gets down to $3, we'll just have to do what's going on. I would think, at this point, you want to stay at around 20 cents. So it'd be something that's gonna have back and forth.
And I've got a couple of
Could be
thoughts.
written. It could be written to where if it exceeds a certain amount, it's the only time it goes into a default way.
And I don't know any of the legalities, so I've got some thoughts and some ideas, but I have to go through questions of local government codes. But one of the examples in our sales tax code is for large purchases, we have a maximum amount of tax, and so we may be able to cap the amount of tax per gallon, but anything below that much per gallon would revert to the full 5%, for example. And that may be one option to accomplish both with just code change and not a new tax. But again, I'm not familiar with this whole process, and I don't want to put anything. I don't want to swear to anything that until I can do some research. I'm happy to do that.
Most of those guys are finding the kind of bulk that's gonna get into, they get like 70 gallons of crap. Those are the tanks are about 100 gallons, a little more. So we go out and run 2 days and be somewhere between 70 and 90 gallons.
Have we do some more research and back in council and for going into and giving the numbers we can schedule executive session.
Don't we have it written over purchases over 5,000? The tax is maxed out, so there must be some way that's written. I'm
Right,
not sure, I didn't look at the code exactly, I just know that we did it when I was doing sales tax.
and that may be one way to tackle it, the council's interest in putting a cap on the amount of tax charged for a gallon of gas, leaving at 5% to the cap. Right now, boats and automobiles. But essentially, only the first $5,000 is taxable, so 5% sales tax applies, but it caps out at $5,000. So that's a one thought, the council wants to tackle it, might be to pick some maximum amount per gallon and say the sales tax is 5%. Up to maximum of whatever per gallon council interested in. I'll look at some of those options and bring some thoughts back to that. Go ahead.
Jamie there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Basically, those guys already get a break as commercial, just like commercial fishermen do. And if we go giving them a break on taxes, you're gonna have to give one to the commercial fishermen also, which means the seiners, the trollers and all of them. You're treading on pretty dangerous ground if you go make I'm a little weary of it. We can look into it further and find out how it all ties in, but, I don't know. I know that the state's supposed to give everybody a little more in their first month this year to offset the cost of fuel and all this stuff. So, yeah, I don't know if we want to get into this or not.
No, it can't be a carve out just for the charters, there's no doubt about that, that's not.
Joel's letter does say commercial.
Hmm.
Joel's letter does say commercial entities, he's not asking for charters, he said commercial fishing vessels, so he's covering everybody in that entity.
And you can admit that charters are commercial.
Good point.
It is. So they might want it exactly. So, yeah, this is something we need to look into further before we can really go and decide anything on it. But yeah, we can definitely look into it.
So at some point in the future, we will readdress this issue. So let's move on to consideration of resolutions and ordinances. We have resolution 22-14.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Can't find it.
Okay, moved and seconded to adopt resolution 22-14. For some reason, the total amount, that was my main question.
It was 1,260 article, right?
$1,260 for how long?
For that access permit for the year.
Oh,
And I
no.
think that's what it was last year.
And there's, unlike leases, access permits, we don't do an assessment or appraisal, so. Really, the city is, and since it's a 24-month access permit in front of council has. Whatever latitude that it wants to make changes to the access permit, including about.
This is just for 4,500 square feet though, right?
If you come by the industrial park there, this is the area kind of next to Noise Island at the roadside of the boat workyard. There's kind of I don't remember, there's a couple logs or rocks or something that create a little bank. So this is that little area closest to the road.
Pretty much just room to park my size boat there, for which we get how much a day?
It'd start out at 18 cents a foot per day. Is what the current rates are on boatyard storage. And that's for the first 60 days.
Do you recall the length of that area?
No, it should be in the maps, but,
If I remember, it was like 20 by 90 or something like that. I measured it a couple of years ago when this all came out. I needed somewhere for Kenny's to be because he doesn't have enough room for
No,
all of his stuff, and so he was spilling out onto the
I agree.
into the boatyard.
I agree with all that. I just don't like it enough much.
Full 90, if it's 90 feet long, at 18 cents a foot a day, it's closer to 6,000. 90 feet generate. Full, and goes from 365 days a year.
That was a long time ago that I measured it. It's that,
So,
You know, that spot is, I don't know, Hans might have a different perception of it, but once we lifted the road and paved it, that spot became more kind of just harder to put boats into because it dipped down and it really flexed the trailer. And it,
No, I'm not talking about arguing, I'm talking about putting skips like mine, but you got a 20-foot skip with a 25-foot trailer that you park in there. And I thought we were charging more money than the 18 cents a foot.
well, it's 18 cents a foot per day, so it does add up.
Right, because I
You know, your boat-
$5 a day when I had it parked. One boat out there, I paid $150 for a month to park my boat out in the other yard. For one boat, $150 I paid. I know you don't charge everybody, but because that's what the rule said, that's what I want to pay. The rule says $5 a day if you're there for more than 3 days in the public parking lot. So,
like 25-foot boat, like overall length would be about $450 a day times 30 days in a month, so you'd be looking at about $135 per month, so
Right,
it's not far off of
and
what
there's
you're
room
saying.
at 10-foot wide per boat.
I have about 6 boats above it stacked up, and those are wider boats, so sport boats, you could probably get 8 in there,
Yeah.
possibly, but.
I'm just tired of giving stuff away.
my feeling on it is, you know, you wouldn't expect to have that place rented continuously when it's full. And I don't mind having people store boat trailers with boats on them, you know, the towable kind, short term or something, but A, there's private entities that do that, and B, you know, most people that have personal small boats are, they take care of them themselves.
There are lots of times where I'd rather leave mine out there than to take it home. And the other thing is there is nobody else who's doing this, Michael. The other boatyard is completely full. There's nobody else doing it. So, I mean, have you been out there?
Oh, I know, it's
The whole area that is technically for sport boats under the sport boat grant to do that parking lot is now full of commercial boats. I have lots of people calling me complaining, and I just say, you know, next year will be better is what I've been telling them. So we need to get rid of some of those people, like I said before, there's no more wood boats come into our yard unless they have planned to be in and out in 30 or 60 days. And we're gonna eat Vaughn's boat. We've got the other guy's boat that's been there since last September with the dog. He's making minimal progress, it's like, we can't do that. I don't know, I just. Don't know, that can be. It's more valuable than that, and the other ones we charge 8%, right, of the assessed value, which. I don't think is not on any of those either. If we wanna just deal with it, can we do it for just 1 year, give it to them for a year and then think about this?
I think that's essentially, so he's already done 1 year of the permit. So the council would only be permitting for 1 more year.
Oh.
And then he would need to come back likely for a lease in order to do anything longer than the next year. So this access permit will expire April 30th of 2020.
As soon as there's a whole vote off of that part, we should use that for something else. The whole thing didn't go according to plan. He wasn't supposed to be loading his vans where he's loading them. The original plan said he was gonna do it on the side of the building. And his stuff ruins the road, makes it difficult for him to get the machine up the hill, because the road's all tore up from the thing turning out there, it's. He hasn't abided by any of the rules that we're supposed to be abided by. That thing.
You know, I was just gonna say, I mean, I think there's good points on both sides, but as our city administrator just pointed out, it's actually less than a year until this lapses, and I'd say let's go ahead. My personal opinion is I would support it with the condition that we evaluate all these things that we've kind of brought up.
Right, I'll support it for the rest of this year, but we need to think about making money on our profit, not giving it away.
And just for council information, 1260 is 8% of the assessed value of that school. So that's what that's 1260.
Okay, any further discussion? It's been moved and seconded already, so this one is money, so it's a roll call
Hannah,
Yes.
Millie,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Jim,
vote. Yes.
motion, adoption, what is it? Motion,
Okay, moving on, unfinished business. Land sale.
So, Mr. Vice Mayor, this is the lot that Hans York originally applied to purchase. That's been our practice for a number of years to invite competitive bids if some people are interested. Not ever happened before. This is the first time we've actually had folks submit interest. We had 2 other people submit interest. The council, a couple of meetings ago, approved bid process between 3 interested parties. Samantha sent notices out, but they did work together following that process. We opened bids, there were 2 bids submitted, which we opened on May 25th. So Miranda Hahn submitted a bid and Hans submitted a bid. Miranda is the high bidder. Both bids were fully qualified and included the insurance payment and everything that's required. So Miranda's bid of $80,117 was the high bid.
Discussion on this, council? I have a little bit, because originally we were talking about people doing this to build homes. Now we're in the investment territory. I thought the first one was because she wanted to build a home. Now we're looking at an investment, and I might even play the game of investing money in land, and I thought that we weren't gonna build a home, and Tom's going to jump in the home there. So now we're looking at people bidding on things for investment purposes, and that's different than my reasoning behind not charging them surcharges was because we were looking at having a house built on there that was gonna bring us in.
And that will take place. In fact, Miranda told Samantha and I that it's her intent to start both structures at once. So she's planning on putting a residential, single family duplex. I think she's talking about a duplex. Wasn't she, you remember?
Don't really remember.
But her plan is to start both residential structure on the first lot for herself and then a rental. At least one rental and then on the lot next. So it's at least her stated intent is not to sit on the land undeveloped, but to immediately start work on both structures.
Where did you see that she was using it for an investment?
No, I didn't, she just bought one, so I don't know how many people have enough money to be able to finance two things, I'm assuming. I'm not gonna say what I'm assuming here. I mean, her dad's a contractor, so there's no place to build, and it's good, Mike's a good builder, so. Hopefully he's gonna build a couple of things right away on it, and we will get the tax in the end, but it just, when one person buys two lots, it just looks more like an investment, but that's what she said to them, I believe. She wouldn't have said it if it's not true, so she ended up paying more than the thing anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, about, let's see, her bid was, about $7,000, a little less than
so she
$7,000.
made almost a 10% surcharge over the thing.
We already make a motion on this?
Yes.
No.
No, we haven't had it for this one.
Oops.
Yeah, I would move to approve the sale of lot 3A Murphy subdivision for a total of $80,117 to Miranda Hahn.
Second.
Any further discussion?
I have a question. How many lots are in that subdivision that are not sold yet or have not?
This is the last one.
So the last one?
So all 7 lots in the subdivision are not privately owned. Well, or community connections on one lot now. All the lots are sold, city doesn't hold understand.
So I actually feel the same way Jim does. But I also, I've talked to Brian this earlier. This is all within our codes, went through planning and zoning. Basically, it's went through the complete public process. And to not approve it, I think would be wrong. For Miranda, because she followed the process, although I wish in hindsight, maybe we could put covenants that it would have been all single family homes, because that, to me, that's the most valuable. That's important to the community. But she went through the process. She's the high bidder, I'm gonna support it. I wish we'd have done different, but that's the way I see it.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that too.
And that's no bad regard on her, so, at all. I just do feel that single family homes are, they're kind of the ultimate value in terms of a community. Anyways.
Any further discussion?
Well, there definitely is a shortage on rentals.
Yeah.
It's all the way around.
Okay, I move in second to approve the 3A Murphy land sale. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Now we have a daycare discussion.
I don't have a recommended motion or action, but I put this on the agenda, Mr. Vice Mayor. I think I emailed out to everybody and said that last week, we got an email from one of the last committee board members for the Child Care Center Board, who officially notified us, the email came through Samantha actually, officially notified us that they were not going to be able to continue with the board and the organization forward. Samantha has requested for both to admit that the lease calls for a formal letter terminating the lease with 30 days notice. And so she has requested that the board submit that letter to us so that we have a date to go on. But it's likely that we will not have a tenant in that building, probably by sometime in July. So there's been a couple of discussions. I'm really looking for some guidance from the council as to generally what your thoughts are. If you want us to pursue another operator, there's been some discussion about uses for the building. I don't know if that's the direction the council's interested in going. So I'm really just looking kind of for an open discussion. There's, as I see it, really, there's, a couple of options. One is that we don't take any action on the daycare issue and repurpose the building and use it for something else. And we've got there's been some discussion going on about what that would be. The second option would be that we put together a request for proposals and ask folks for a business plan. And folks would be interested in starting up a new daycare, giving them a chance and have some competing proposals and business plans and try and pick a good one. And give another operator an opportunity to operate the daycare center there. I will say I've had some very informal discussions with Head Start, who might also be interested in the building, but there are pros and cons to all of these. Head Start would be a great building for Head Start, but that would preclude full days, and that would preclude infants and toddlers, and I don't know what the top age is on Head Start, but so there'd be a limited market of folks that would get some sort of I don't know about daycare, but childcare services, and so it's definitely an impact to employers. It's not a simple issue, and I'm not looking for the council necessarily to solve the problem so much as to give staff some direction that you'd like us to work towards. It can even be just direction, and council may want us to put out some request for proposals, and if nothing comes back, then we look at one of the other options or want to go back and rethink it again. But I'm just kind of looking for how aggressively the council wants staff to pursue in these particular options.
I think we should look into managing it. You could also offer benefits to a daycare administrator, or whatever you call it, manager or whatever. It's pretty important to have childcare.
You're thinking the city run the daycare, or are you thinking?
And hire it be under the city, and then the city, what do you call the head of the daycare manager, hire a daycare manager.
Become a department head essentially.
And offer them benefits, and maybe it would be something more potential of getting somebody to run the daycare.
It would have to be, if the city did that, it would have to be the kind of fund that pays for itself.
Right.
It's like, and I'm telling you, that's not gonna happen. It is never going to pay for itself. Now, if we have to pay our kind of wages to run the daycare, I don't believe it's possible.
I'm happy to put the numbers together, but I think Jim is correct. By the time we add benefits to our employee package, it's gonna be very expensive for us to have those city employees.
They wouldn't all have to be benefited positions though.
But then they have to be part-time, or the personnel rules would have to change. Currently, our personnel rules allow a full-time employee, which is anybody working an average of 40 hours a week. They're automatically eligible for full benefits.
I think over 30, over 29.
Yeah, there's this weird gray area, over 29 hours a week where PERS considers them full-time. So they're definitely required to pay PERS on them. Our personnel handbook makes them eligible for other benefits like health insurance and pay and a number of city benefits at 40 hours a week for full-time employees. But those benefits do get expensive. I'd be happy to at least throw a back of the envelope number together of what it might cost for staff over there. But my feeling so far has been the city staff is going to be very expensive.
Gonna have to bring that back bring some numbers back to the council. Let you guys look at that as an option. I don't know that we're in a big hurry, other than a hurry to fill the daycare hole, but, so whatever time the council wants to take is again up to you guys.
Yeah, I feel the daycare is a critical part of our infrastructure in the community as well. I do have some financial concerns with the city possibly being responsible. A good example that we had prior 20 years ago was when we were managing the clinic up here. And we could not get out of that fast enough. Jim, remember that. Anyways, I wouldn't say no to it, but I would be interested in at least putting out a request for proposal and see if there's a potential somebody out there that has an interest. Maybe one of the privates would do it. And in the meantime, we can look at the other options, but put a request out and see what happens, and keep considering options. I don't want to see it go away.
I don't have a problem with the RFPs out, but it's like, it's not something that the city should subsidize more than we go backwards on it every year for the last 20 years. And my grandkids, well, one of them went there, and it was big time, and, Greg was moving, they probably had 30 kids over there when Brandon and Jeremy and everybody were right age to be in the daycare. I mean, the population here was 800 more, all in Craig, the island was 10,000 or more, so. But it won't, they couldn't get more than 6 or 8 kids, and it won't even think about functioning unless they have at least 20. Or maybe more, and if they couldn't get anybody to come, they couldn't pay you work either, so. A double-edged sword.
Yeah, the inconsistency has really been an issue for the last few years. There is a huge need for daycare here. And I mean, we pay sales tax, property tax for schools. I just don't really see the difference in something that everybody who attends it has to pay as well. I would have no problem paying into it, to make sure that people can come to work. It's like, it's huge.
It's not the city's responsibility that lose money in daycare.
I'm open to at least see if we can figure something out on it. I mean, we want to be careful financially, but outreach is not bad right now.
I think there's an opportunity, if council wants to, there's a lot of issues that daycare centers had. They've had a lot of issues directly related to enrollment and staffing and consistency that are kind of staffing management issues, but talking to a couple of prior board members, their insurance is very expensive. Their ability to keep a bookkeeper doing a good job is difficult at best, and we might be able to provide some technical assistance. We might be able to share some insurance costs as part of the RFP that really would not cost us anything out of pocket, but would be some ways to help the provider offset some of the costs. It's okay with council. It sounds like maybe the best way forward is to kind of put together what an RFP might look like, a list of things that potentially the city could throw in to help a new operator start up without a significant financial exposure. And we can also bring back some numbers as to what it might look like if the city would run about the same, at least in terms of our expenses.
Works for me.
At this point, we won't put anything out for proposals. I mean, this would just be, would be information from that to council.
Okay, now we'll have a discussion on that Fourth of July pool pass donation.
So this was a correspondence item at the last meeting that the council asked to carry over. And just good here, we've been putting on the pool quite a bit this year with the employee passage and some other things, so just with that couple of concerns now. So Karen Hobart to be here from the 4th of July committee to kind of weigh in on their request. So the request is essentially for a 6-month family pass, it's about $480 value to be one of the raffle prizes for the Hero raffle that raises funds for the 4th of July.
Do you want me to speak?
Sure, go ahead.
It's just gonna question for me. So the request was before I realized, actually, thank you for, having me. The request was made before I knew we were getting $5,000 from the city, and I thank you for that. I appreciate it. I can't wait to, showcase our trailer that we purchased last year and in the parade this year because the few members that we had worked our bums off and we were able to buy a trailer to help put a majority of our things in one place instead of we had stuff at the clinic, we had stuff at the gym, my garage, we need 2 more trailers so I could empty out my garage, but that's gonna come. So the pool pass, last year, the aquatic center donated 100 passes that we put in our prize hunt, which was the money hunt. So we're gonna put money in the money day this year. So I just thought that the pool pass was a really good idea. I'm plan on going to a CTA meeting and ask them to start donating to families because for my husband and I to take our 4 grandchildren to the pool, it costs us a lot of money. And I just thought that it was a good idea I just thought it was a prize that I would want to win. And the pool passes, I do love the 100 passes. My grandkids have gotten lots of them in the Easter egg hunt. But to be honest with you, we probably only redeemed maybe a third of them because they got lost. So I thought it was a fair trade. I didn't have to ask for the pool passes last year. John Bowling just said, here you go. So I just thought it was a kind of a fair compromise and, but if not, I've already stated that it's gonna be a prize. So we will purchase it with either funds that I go door to door knocking, asking for, or a portion of the $5,000 that the city has generously donated to us this year, so.
I've just been waiting for the thing in my box that I get every year. I haven't gotten a request for anything in my box, so, and I normally get a request from the 4th of July committee in my box. And that's when I do your guys' passes for the day, like I've done every year. And so this is the first time, I actually didn't even know that this was on the agenda until I got here. So I was like, pool passes, I didn't know anything about this. I have no problem swapping them out. Where we do a 6-month pass, I have no problems doing that, but I'm not gonna do 115 $4 passes.
Right, no, that's what I was asking.
So, yeah.
This is my 3rd full year on the committee and I have done 89% of the letters, the composing of the letters, and John Bowling up in the office just said, you're gonna get this.
No, I get a letter, my thing saying something from 4th of July committee is requesting whatever, or requesting a donation, what would you like to donate? And that's what I put on there, and that's what happened last year too, so.
Okay. I'm not gonna, okay.
No, and I'm not like trying to be confrontational whatsoever, I've just been waiting on it so I can print them out.
Okay.
And, but if you wanna swap it out for a 6 month pass, I have no problems doing that, if you wanna make up, because of the way that we do our, pass system now, if you wanna make up some sort of a gift certificate, so whoever gets it, they can bring it to me, because they could already be in our system, it would just be nothing.
Okay. I'd be happy to. I asked Brian initially, and he requested me to send a letter, so I wasn't aware. So I do send the donation letters and, yeah, that's not a problem, and I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I don't have a problem doing it, I just need to know who I'm issuing it to, so if you do some sort of gift certificate sort of thing, or, you know, redeemable at the pool, so, and then let me know who won, so, you know, 12 people don't bring me in a gift certificate that said, hey, I won, because that's happened.
I'd be happy to, do that, so you want me to create?
I mean, I can create up a gift
Okay.
certificate for you.
Okay.
And then you would just fill in the name, normally I print in the name, so, but we won't know until we've done the raffle, right, so.
Okay. Any other questions?
That was easy.
Council doesn't have any more input, it seems to resolve itself.
Okay. Sounds good.
Well, I do have a question, actually. Are we going to do anything about the pool not being open all this time? Because I have a pool pass, I can't even bring my kids to the pool right now.
Right, we did talk about extending them, that one meeting or something, because of all the problems we're having.
I haven't had a chance to sit down and talk to the rest of it, but.
Well, I plan on extending all the passes for July anyways, because that's what I do every year. Is if we're closed for more than the 2 weeks, it gets extended that extra month. That would be something I'd have to sit down and talk to Brian, because I am still up there 11 hours a day. The pool is open, it's just not open for open swim. The weight room is open, you know, 3 days a week, 11 hours a day, and two days a week for 9 hours a day. So, I mean, that's something I'd have to talk to Brian about.
Doesn't have to talk about that. Either resolve it or council wants to discuss it later. Bring it
I
back.
don't have any problem, I mean, we've had problems over the past few months.
Yes.
And it runs at a deficit, it's not on her, the pool is only running at a deficit, so if we extend people's pool passes for 4 or 5 or 6 months, it's not gonna hurt us a bit, because we're losing anyway. So, because people have not been able to use them, we had already discussed this, at some. We've discussed this already, so something needs to be done, hopefully we can find some people who wanna go to work.
Yeah, I've had 7 applicants. That's about what I have. I had one that could swim, but she couldn't perform the other part of it. Out of the 7.
This, talk about. So,
Okay.
6 people per
Sounds
swim.
good.
It's for, just to be able to take the lifeguarding course, the course to become a lifeguard, you have to go over swim 300 yards continuously, and the brick test, and a 2-minute tread without your hands. I haven't gotten one to get past 100 yards yet. And it doesn't even have to be pretty swimming, you just can't stop.
Okay, we're good. So,
Can I ask one more question? I was looking through the packet. Am I considered a volunteer? I mean, I could submit my hours and hours and hours, but it said that the active volunteers, city volunteers get a pass to the pool, did I read that correctly?
EMS, probably.
yeah, the intent of that policy is about the EMS and fire volunteers, so that's acting.
You could get on the EMS first.
I'm sure I put in the same amount of hours.
Bring a discussion back, I think, about pool passes. Just, can't stop.
okay, new business. Discussion of the Wells Fargo CD. Downward fund, the cap reserve fund. You need to set up.
I made a recommended motion, talked about this a couple of times when we talked about the capital reserve fund. I mentioned to the council that there was a bunch of savings accounts and stuff that we're not earning that would do better, either in capital reserve fund or the endowment fund. This particular CD was held, John recommended the council a couple of years ago. We moved a bunch of money to the endowment fund. John recommended holding back this $500,000 just in case, at the very beginning of COVID, just in case COVID hit us significantly financially. And, we, you know, for various reasons, we're in good financial shape. And so, right now, the long-term outlook of the CD is that it will continue to earn 0.01% interest. So, it's my recommendation that, we move half of it to the endowment fund and half of it to the capital reserve fund, just to provide more capital in each of the funds. Capital reserve fund will be more accessible if council needs to access the money at some point. And the endowment fund, of course, just provides more long-term earnings for the city.
We don't have a packet, just a question I have before I ask for a motion. Is, where do we stand, how much cash do we have in the bank besides that 500,000? Where are we at, because we don't have a report this month.
You're talking about in the checking, currently cash on hand.
Currently cash, because we need to have a lot of cash on hand anyway.
The last time I looked in Jerry, maybe we looked more recently, we had about $2.7 million. And our goal is generally to keep $2 million.
We're good at it. That was, I thought it would be a lot, but I just wanted to, move $500,000, I just want to make sure we're secure.
And that doesn't count as well.
Right, I know,
Yeah.
that's good, okay.
Yeah,
So,
we got about
there's a recommended motion, so before we discuss this anymore, we probably should have a motion.
Move to approve staff to execute the closure of the CD at Wells Fargo and move those funds to the Alaska Permanent Capital Management as described above.
Second. Is that the motion that we want? Not the split?
Just split it equal description.
As
Oh,
As described above.
oh, gotcha,
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah, I think that's
Sorry.
good. I don't need that twice.
I know.
I tried to make it not too long.
Oh, I see.
$20 million.
But my team, the old friend. Tell it how you want to say it.
So is there any further discussion on that? Okay, so this will be a roll call
Hannah,
Yes.
Millie,
Yes.
Michael, Jim.
vote. Yes. Any more comments tonight?
Marathon, you know, it's a lot of attention and actually made the New York Times very short clip. The party that was here with the lady with ALS, she was profiled in the Times. We accepted it, and I mentioned that, so that was kind of cool, and there was clearly a lot of people in town associated with that, and that was, you know, good for all of our communities, so. Good job on those guys, glad to see it back in normal fashion. And I've seen a couple four-wheelers and side by sides on the road here in the last week or so. And, you know, small number, but it seems to be working good, so that's good.
It'd be Jim for anything else?
I will be on medical travel during the next meeting, so I won't be.
No, I'll be here.
I'm on standby for medical too, so. This comes to me with 16th of June.
Second.
And we're going to say aye.
Aye.
Be well, Tim.
That's bad, it's not even 8.
That was worth it.
Are you? I was like that last night. I was in bed by this time. I didn't fall asleep, but I was like